Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering, to those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
Speaking from Midtown Manhattan, New York City, Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready for an above-the-border showdown, because that's what we got tonight. Grizz Raptors in Toronto. We get to beat Drake's favorite team in Super Bowl week. How perfect. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. Chris Vernon is the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. He's with me on Wednesdays. He's going to be with me on this Wednesday. He'll help us get caught up on all the trade deadline speculation. Verno will be here in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to him, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Chris Beard's Ole Miss Rebels got a big win last night in the Pavilion. Led Kentucky by 27 points. Beat them 98-84. That's good for Memphis's resume. I'll tell you where I got the Tigers and the Rebels in the top 25-1. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. Speaking of the Tigers, they're going to be back on the court tonight inside FedEx Forum. Tulsa currently sitting in the high 200s at KenPom. That's the opponent. It's a quad 4 landmine. We'll figure out how Memphis can avoid it. We'll do that a little later on in the show. The new Pac-12 is reportedly negotiating right now with ESPN, Fox, and CBS. So that's interesting. Is it interesting enough to get Memphis back involved? Maybe. We'll talk about that in the third segment. Hall of Fame broadcaster Dick Vitale is going to return to the mic this weekend for the first time since 2023 at the age of 85. That's awesome. It'll be Clemson Duke. We'll talk about that in just a bit. And we now have a better understanding of why a helicopter flew directly into a commercial plane last week in our nation's capital. New report was released yesterday. I'll tell you the important stuff during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because game 51 of a scheduled 82 going to be played tonight in Toronto. Grizz Raptors inside Scotiabank Arena. Grizz enter 34-16 record, 13-11 away from home. Big Bet Bennett, you tried yesterday to get me all worried. You were glazing Toronto pretty good, but you're never going to get me to be too concerned about a team that's 16-34 and supported by a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. Consider me unconcerned. The Grizz are better, more rested, 9.5-point favorites on the road. I'm prepared for a double-digit victory. Are you still worried, or are you prepared for a double-digit victory like me?
I mean, I would say I'm probably still more worried than you. Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be a gimme. I don't think
this is scared of Canada.
I'm not scared of Canada. I just think that they're I just think that they're playing better. I just think they're playing better. It's going to be a tough road environment.
Better
Dude,
than what?
They're going to boo us. They're going to boo us before the game even tips off when they do the national anthem. So like you get that twist. Yeah, you get the extra boos. Like, I mean, come on. It's going to be a hostile environment. You got to get up for this one.
It could be a hostile environment. America is now the enemy of the world, I gather. It feels like, are we the enemy of the world now? What's going on, Bennett?
I mean, come on, dude. We put a pause on the tariffs. Like, come on. Like, let's just everybody chill out.
We paused the tariffs.
We paused the freaking tariffs. Stop booing us.
Dude, they're booing the national anthem in Canada.
Yeah. Yikes.
It's a tough situation, man.
That's a tough scene. That's a tough scene.
It's a tough man. This America-Canada rival has never been bigger than it does. I don't know if it's ever been bigger. I didn't really pay attention to history class when I was in school, so it could have been bigger. But this is the biggest I can ever remember.
It's the biggest I can remember too.
Bennett, you were a history major.
I was a history major. I know. I'm trying to think like off the top of my head, and I'm like, I think everything was pretty good. We had that little war. We had that little war that was going on before the Revolutionary War, but I think that was squashed pretty quickly.
I thought that beef was squashed.
Yeah. So I think this might be the worst the relations have ever been. I think you're accurate on that.
I tell you what, man, I didn't. If you'd asked me 10 years ago if I expected 10 years from then to be in a border beef with Canada, I would have said I doubt it.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Why would we be beefing with Canada? It's like, why would you beef with Canada? Why are we beefing with Canada? But now we're in a fight with Canada, and they boo our national anthem. Like somebody grabs a microphone just like this, and he says, or she says, and now, if you're able, because they do that now too. Do you recognize that? We had to reach a point where they were like, you just can't tell everybody to stand up. Mm-hmm. You notice that in arena? You're in arenas every night. You notice that?
Yes.
When do you think that changed? When was that?
That's a good question.
That feels like something President Trump will try to fix.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going back to the old ways there. No, I'm looking.
It feels like President Trump's going to sign an executive order where the public address announcers no longer have to say if you're able. They just have to say stand.
I
forgot
for
the national anthem.
I forgot that we had already played Toronto here. I believe it was our highest scoring output of the season. Put up 155 points in the win. Because I was thinking okay. If you want to, like, I'll boo y'all. You come back here, I'll boo the Canadian national anthem.
What does it even sound like? Do you know what it sounds like?
Yeah, it's Oh Canada.
Oh yeah, of course. Everybody knows what it sounds like. Of course. But that's a pretty song. I wouldn't want to.
It's a great national anthem. It's a great national anthem. If you want to boo us, I'm going to boo you.
Yeah, that's sort of the way I feel about it.
Never. I think Eric would get mad at me.
It's a nice national anthem, but if they want to be mad, I've sort of subscribed to this like you, Bennett. If they want to be mad at us, then I'll be mad at them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm happy to be friends with you, but if you want to be mad at us, then I'll be mad at you back. But I think I liked it better when we were friends. I never thought we would not be friends.
I out of all the countries, man.
Out of all the countries I thought we might have beef with, Canada was pretty low on the list, I thought.
Yeah, dude. I thought
our baseball teams go to Canada. Our basketball teams go to Canada. Our hockey teams go to Canada. We've imported some great Canadians. Mm-hmm. Michael J. Fox comes to mind.
Yeah.
I thought everything was going to be good. I didn't expect to be in this fight. I'll tell you that.
I'm looking up the history of the
Anyway,
we've had great relations with them over the years, man. We really have.
Man, we used to be friends. Like, what is this?
Yeah, I still love Canada.
What is this even like?
Yeah, I've been to Canada.
I know you have, Bennett. I know that about you. And how did they treat you when you were there?
Really great, actually. Really great. Just amazing people.
You look about 48% Canadian to me.
Do I? Is there a Canadian look?
I think you could pass for Canadian, no problem.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, no, if I saw you walking around, with a little snow on your shoulder, I'd be like, yeah, that fella's from above the border.
Yeah.
Like if I were casting for a Canadian movie, I'd put you in it. You just look like it's always cold around you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, it's a little chilly out there.
I know, but like even in the summer when I look at you,
well, it's because it gets cold in here.
I think your presence makes it look like it's chilly.
Yeah,
like it's just a little chilly around you.
Okay.
They're gonna boo the national anthem tonight, and we'll return the favor someday. How about that?
Yes.
We already took one of your teams. You think we won't boo your national anthem? We took one of your teams.
Oh yeah, the boos will probably be extra heavy tonight, considering we stole one of their NBA franchises. They only got one now.
I mean, they hate America, but they might especially hate Memphis.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As a country, we would threaten them with tariffs, and are trying to make them the 51st state. That's the other thing. We forgot about that. We forgot that.
I know.
It was a week ago we were going to just make them the 51st state.
And they were like, no, we're good. We'll pass on that. It's so funny.
It's like, I forgot what this was like. I forgot it was like this.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
So they're mad at us as a country because we're threatening them with tariffs and or making them the 51st state. Mm-hmm. So I get
big
that.
State.
It would be a big state, God. Like the biggest, like a great big state. Maybe our greatest and biggest state.
Yes.
And then they hate us as Memphians because we've taken 50% of their NBA franchises.
Right. All right. That's tough.
And we located them below we smuggled one of their NBA franchises into America across the border.
Mm-hmm.
Like, J.D. Vance is yelling about all the fentanyl they're letting in the thing, and they're like, well, you stole our basketball team.
Yeah.
You let our basketball team cross the border, no problems. So, it's a weird time.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
I think we can agree on that. Hey, 2:00 tomorrow, Central Time. That's the trade deadline. Bennett, I know you've been following it. What's your favorite trade rumor? What's your favorite speculation out there? Can I interest you in a mellow ball brother? Would you like to have a ball brother? Lonzo.
So I want to start by saying this time of year always gives me, for no reason at all, it always gives me anxiety. I don't know why. I just get all anxious around the trade deadline. I guess it's because
nobody's gonna trade you. You're not worried about being traded.
I don't. You never know. I'm
telling you, you're untouchable.
Okay,
you're
good.
Untouchable.
Thank
you're
you.
Untouchable as far as I'm concerned.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel better. No, I mean just you follow the team all season and you get super invested in the team and obviously our team's really good, and so you don't want to see good players that you've been cheering for move on. So that's why I always get the anxiety. But can you interest me in a ball brother? Possibly. It depends on like what I give up, what I got to give up. But I didn't hate that when I saw that news that the Grizzlies were potentially seeing about acquiring Lonzo Ball. I mean, I would if you want so the rumors, Marcus Smart's a name that gets thrown out there a lot. If you want to ask me, right, would I rather have Marcus Smart or Lonzo Ball right now for this championship run if both are fully healthy? I would rather have Marcus Smart because I'm not going to have revisionist history. I was so excited about the Marcus Smart move. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I thought it was a great addition for the Grizzlies. Obviously, it hasn't worked out because of his health. He hasn't played that many games at all for the Grizzlies, but if he's fully healthy, ready to go for playoff time, that is a guy that I covet as a piece in the playoffs because he's been there before. He's had the battles and he's a veteran presence. So that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. But I'm a fan of Lonzo Ball too, man.
All of the reasons, or at least most of the reasons that you wanted to bring Marcus Smart to Memphis in the first place, are still reasons you might want to have him on the team going forward, provided he's healthy. The issue, of course, is we've never really seen what it looks like, and he's never really been healthy at the same time. The other key players are also healthy. I will just say, understanding how this stuff works, I have no idea if Marcus Smart will still be a member of the Grizzlies franchise at 2:01 p.m. Central tomorrow. But there's clearly something to his name being in a variety of deals because there's too many reputable NBA reporters that are putting his name out there. I mean, it's beat guys, it's national guys, it's traditional writers, it's television people. There's a bunch of people putting Marcus Smart or telling us, and not just Grizzlies fans, but just NBA fans, if you're looking for a name that could be moved, obviously Jimmy Butler is a name. Obviously Kevin Durant is a name. But Marcus Smart, that's a high-profile name who could also be changing franchises once again. Let's get a prediction. Let's get you on the record, Bennett. You are untouchable. That's
good.
I've made that clear to other franchises.
Thank you.
You are untouchable. But not everybody employed by the Grizzlies is untouchable at the trade deadline. Do you think Marcus Smart, if we are talking, and we're going to, God willing, we'll be talking on Friday morning. If we're talking on Friday morning, are we talking about a Grizzlies team that Marcus Smart is still on or no?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that he's still a part of the team. Again, I don't know anything, but and also worth mentioning that him and Vince Williams have both been upgraded to questionable for tonight's game, which if you really want to get into like in the weeds and what that means, what you think that means, as we near the trade deadline, that's fine. But I'll look at it as a positive because it looks like both of those guys are ready to play soon. So we'll see what that ends up meaning with them both having a questionable designation coming into tonight. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do some kind of consolidation move because the roster's just so full right now, right? Like I'd be surprised if they don't do something. Do I think they're going to do a huge move at the deadline? I would say I'd lean towards probably not. Do I think they'll do something? Yeah, I think they'll do some kind of move.
To me, that's the most obvious thing is that we used to wonder, like, all right, a one possession game, 6 minutes left, who's on the wing? Who is that person? And you'd trade up to try to find that person. You acquire a top 10 pick to try to acquire that person. And right now you've got a roster where Jalen Wells has been your starter. Theoretically, when healthy, you can trust Marcus Smart. Vince Williams is the guy who was tremendous last season, who people thought just based on nothing but basketball stuff should maybe be a starter this season, even over Marcus Smart if the roster is completely healthy. And that was before we even knew what Jalen Wells was. And then, of course, there's Gigi Jackson, who just had a big performance the other night and is, I think, undeniably of all of the options, the best offensive option you could throw out there. So that's a lot of people that you're comfortable playing that you can't possibly or reasonably all play.
Right.
Certainly once the playoffs get here. So if you wanted to, trade 2 nickels for a dime type of thing, that's the type of deal that might make some sense. Take 2 of these younger pieces and get a piece. Obviously, you got to make money, match and contracts and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, that's the thing I would keep an eye on. If somebody gets moved, it'll be somebody's name I just said within the past 70 seconds or so.
I think also worth pointing out, like, this franchise has never really done massive trade deadline moves. Like, I can't think of a huge one that we've ever really done.
Well, here's the good news. I got a friend who hosts an NBA podcast for The Ringer. So let's get him in here, and we'll ask him a lot of these same questions. Chris Vernon, he's up next.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Been at Doyle back in Memphis inside the Built Ford Tough studio, producer of the program. And he's joined right now by Chris Verner, who's the host of the Chris Verner Show. Weekdays, noon, Grind City Media. Hey, Chris Vernon, how are you on this Wednesday?
I'm great.
Well, it's good to see you, and I can't wait to see you in person. I should be able to see you in person, hopefully tomorrow around the same time or so. I'm headed back.
I still feel connected to you. I still see your car every day.
That's insane.
I get excited every day. I said, "Oh, Gary's here," and then I remember, he's not here.
I'm gonna dedicate my Thursday to get my car moved. That's what Thursday's about. Reconnecting with my children and my wife and getting my car
I don't believe that for a second. I 100% believe that what's going to happen is Kelly's Valentine's Day gift to you is going to be your car. She's going to have to take care of this, or it's never getting taken care of.
I would accept that as the best Valentine's gift. It would really be the best.
A new car.
Like you don't understand. That's the best thing you can do for me is take something off of my table. Like just take something away that I don't have to deal with. That's the best thing anybody could ever do for me. So, hey, sweetie, if you're watching, that would be amazing. But her plate's more full than mine, so I'll handle it myself. I asked Bennett this question. I want to ask you. Marcus Smart's name has been tossed out by a lot of different reporters as keep an eye on this as the trade deadline approaches. It's 2:00 tomorrow Central Time at, say, 2:01 p.m. Central officially. You think Marcus Smart's still a member of this franchise?
I think there's certainly a possibility he could be moved. I think that was, in the absence of knowing what he can bring to the table and how he fits with all of the other guys. I mean, we're talking less than half of a season that we've seen him, right? What they need is, more than anything, availability. And he was never going to be the ideal fit. It was going to be, the idea would be, hey, it'd probably be a better Dillon, right? Little less shooting, been part of bigger winning, could be a playmaker, but can also be the guy that every night we sick on the other team's best perimeter offensive player. But we don't know how it would play out. So I think that's why it's always, it was never. And the other thing is his timeline is obviously a different timeline than your 3 stars that you are building your team out around. And I think that when you have seen in the past, look, they've gone after Mikal Bridges. They've gone after Dorian Finney-Smith. They've gotten involved in all manner of discussions in the past. They obviously have kicked the tires on the Jimmy Butler thing, which is a road to nowhere, so it seems. So it's pretty obvious that, right, we've known that the 3 spots are taken, and it's always been since before, even when they had Dylan on the team. What's the ideal thing? And then the smart thing kind of fell in their lap, and it's like, hey, now, well, we can have him as our Dylan replacement. As Dylan is going to go off and he's going to sign somewhere else, we're still going to need somebody to fill that role. Now, obviously, Marcus hasn't been able to fill that role for the Grizzlies, but I mean, whether they stayed with him or they moved him, I think the better question is not, is he going to be on the team at 2:01 tomorrow? The better question is, would you expect him to be on the roster for opening day of next season? And that's the answer we need. And if we accept we don't think that is what is going to be the end game, then yeah, by tomorrow by 2:00, I could for sure see some story saying that he has gone elsewhere.
If I put you in charge, you, Chris Vernon, I'm not asking you to predict what Zach Kleiman's going to do as much as what would you like to see done with this roster at the trade deadline? What's the type of deal you'd be looking at?
I want a guy that's been in the league, so a guy that's got years. And again, we have been searching for that elite. I agree with what they have looked for. What is the ideal fit with those guys? And that's a guy that Jalen Wells has fit the role better than you could have ever imagined. You can also not, as we've documented, right? It's too much to ask the 39th pick in the draft. It is a unbelievable regular season story. It is not what you can go to battle with in the playoffs, right? Trust and believe, if nothing happens at the trade deadline, Jalen Wells is not going to be starting when it comes playoff time. I'm sorry. It's not. I don't believe that, right? I believe that if nothing happens, Marcus Smart will start when it comes playoff time. So, because you are going to have, and again, it's a difference between regular season and the playoffs. And so I need somebody that I feel like I could throw out at the small forward. I can have them, that 3-and-D guy, and you have seen the names that they have thrown out there, or the names that they have been involved with, are all the same archetype. We know the type of player. We need a better Jalen Wells. That's what we need. You know what I mean?
I sit in studio here some nights with Wally Zerbiak, some nights with Roy Hibbert, some nights with both of them at the same time, and we get into all these different types of conversations. And I pick their brains about stuff like this because both of those guys have played in high-profile playoff games. Roy's got the famous block on Carmelo at the rim. Wally played with LeBron, and they are both intrigued by the Grizzlies. Blown away that Jalen Wells is doing what he's doing. But what both of those guys will tell you, because they told me, is having been through it, you don't it is incredible that the Grizzlies are 36-14, whatever the record is, through 50 games, starting 2 rookies. But you don't want to go try to win the Western Conference starting 2 rookies. You don't want to get in those fights.
You might be able, and you could probably convince me that, this is regular season good, not playoff good, but Marcus Smart can make you playoff good. I mean, I can be convinced that, hey, he is a better option than what was out there. But I'll give you something. Like this morning, in the spirit of interest of full disclosure, I text Roser and Devin early this morning when I saw this thing that came out. It was like the Cavs are, trying to get DeAndre Hunter or something. And every time I see a name like that, I'm like, whoa. That's perfect. Right? So I should have just put a name with when you asked me what do they need. DeAndre Hunter is the perfect archetype. Okay. Exactly. So I'm like, yo, get involved in that, right? If he's around, and I brought up Caleb Martin, who ended up getting moved yesterday to Dallas, right? Like, you want that kind of guy that you think you can, you're going to get to the playoffs and somebody's going to have to guard the Luka Doncic's and the Anthony Edwards and the Devin Bookers and the whoever, right? Name the player. And that is too much to ask of a second-round pick who's playing in his first playoffs.
Let's branch out to the rest of the NBA. Kevin Durant's name it seems to be available, and there's lots of speculation that he could get moved at the trade deadline. Do you expect KD to be playing for another franchise this time next week?
There's too much smoke.
Right.
There's too much smoke. They're a 500 team who has no way out. So, yeah. I mean, and you're not trading Booker. And they can't trade Beal. Right. So what is the way out, right? Like, not only this, you also have to go back, right? Not only are they a 500 team right now with no, real future in sight, they also played last year, played in the first round, and didn't win a playoff game.
Right.
Like, they didn't win a game. That is part of this.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, that's part of this story. They didn't even win a game last year. So again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we built to this, but now we have seen it. It's 500, and what way do we have out of this? We're second apron, like the only thing we have that we can move at this point because of the Beal thing, right? Obviously, the easy answer would be that you try to find a landing spot for Bradley Beal and you move on, but because of his no trade clause and because of his complete lack of interest of playing anywhere else, now you're in a pickle, right? Now you've got the only thing you can move is Kevin Durant in order to acquire the necessary assets to make your team better, not maybe even this year, but also certainly going forward.
There's speculation that there could be a Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. They reunite in San Francisco. Does that make sense to you? Would that move the needle for the Warriors at all?
For sure it would move the needle, but it sounds like, at least from some of the reporting I read, like, where does this come from? And the idea would be that Matt Ishbia, kind of covets Draymond because he's an old Michigan State guy. Right. Like, at that point, it makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense on that level. Of course, if you're giving up picks and Kuminga and Moody and Podzinski and whatever, right? Yeah. I have been one of those that has rolled my eyes completely every time Draymond and Curry come out and say, you don't do something, win now. You don't sacrifice the future. And I've been sitting there the whole time going, what future?
Right.
The best young player on your roster you don't like.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't like literally the best young player on the roster, they did not re-sign. They don't. So they've said no to that. So you have no future. Right. Like, win now. Of course, you've got whatever finite amount of time left with a good Curry and a good Draymond. And so if they made a big win now swing, it would not shock me in the least. But if the cost of doing that is Draymond, then that doesn't get you any closer to where you want to be, in my opinion. Because Draymond's the thing that makes that whole defense go. And he's heart and soul too. You know what I mean? Right. He is the heart and soul of that organization, for better or for worse.
But the reports do suggest that he is at least in these talks, in these conversations on some level.
Well, it's interesting too because the Memphis Grizzlies have been involved in talks with Kevin Durant once upon a time.
That's right.
That happened in Brooklyn. And then that deal went down, and then they tried to get involved in the Mikal Bridges thing, right? So that they had an interest. Like, that was reported that they had an interest in Durant before that whole Bridges thing went down.
Draymond, too, for that matter.
And they had an interest in Draymond once upon a time, right? So if Draymond could actually be traded, I mean, he even talked about how he considered going to Memphis. There was an offer on the table from Memphis. In fact, I had a Golden State reporter call me the other night and told me that he had heard, and he was checking against what I knew, and I was like, I don't know. He had heard that it was Tyus Dillon and somebody. It was basically a sign and trade. Right. Could you imagine if Draymond Green would have been traded in a Dillon Brooks deal? Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Yeah, crazy. Crazy story. And so, anyways, you know that the Grizzlies did at one point have interest in Draymond Green. And so it's just fascinating. You see these names that get out there, and it's like, you know what I mean? If Draymond can really be traded, and if Kevin Durant really can be traded, and you see these names bouncing around out there, and it's like, these are ones that we're not like, I wonder if the Grizzlies would, like, we know. Right. We know the Grizzlies fancy these guys. We know they have been in the mix for them before. The question would be, would they still want to be in the mix of them in 2025?
Right.
But, I mean, look, I feel like you have prepared yourself for this moment. You have expiring contracts. You have good players. You have good young players, and a lot of them. And you have all this draft capital. Like, you are prepared for this moment. Everything that people want in trades, you have.
That's right.
Because these aren't these aren't dead contracts, right? Like, Luke Kennard is going to help somebody if he gets moved, but he's on an expiring deal. And Marcus Smart, assuming he can get back, and he's listed as questionable for tonight, but assuming he can come back, he's going to help somebody. I did wonder last night. I'm not trying to put on a tinfoil hat. I wonder if he'll play tonight. And I wonder if we've been keeping this guy on ice, but we're going to show him, we're going to let him play in Toronto tonight, and you're going to see. Right? This is like hey, just to prove to you this guy can play basketball and he's just fine.
Right.
Because it's too weird, right? It's too weird. It just so happens.
Yeah,
right. The first game, the game right
before
the trade deadline. It's the first. I mean, I guess it could be coincidence, but that's unbelievable.
It could be a coincidence, but a lot of people noticed it.
Right.
It could be a coincidence, but a lot of people noticed it. Last thing before I get you out of here, how does the Jimmy Butler thing get resolved?
I have no idea. I mean, it seems like he's I think it's one of two ways. Either he ends up in Phoenix, right? Which is possible if they have interest, and that's clearly the only place he wants to be. Or he comes to terms. Somebody finally gets to him and be like, bro, it can't happen, right? We've exhausted everything. It can't happen. And the owner says, Jimmy, you and I had that meeting, and I tried, right? Like, there's nothing to be done there. We've tried 3-way. We've tried 4-way. There's nothing to be done. We have to worry about our franchise, too. So that can't happen.
Right.
So what do you want, right? And now Jimmy Butler has to decide, right? The leverage at that point has been extended as far as it can go.
Right.
So are you right? Like, so if, at that point, if Memphis trades for you, if Golden State trades for you, if whoever if anybody trades for you that is not named Phoenix, what are you going to do? And I think at that point, the answer is, I'm going to play because I've got to, I still want to look, in the end, he still has, I got it. He's got a $52 million one that he can opt into next year. The reason he doesn't want to go anywhere other than is because he wants triple figures. Like he wants that last $100 million one. Well, the only path to that is playing basketball.
That's right.
And you can use your leverage as long as you want, but if you're not going to be able to, okay, so here's the deal, right? If you just take that off the table, bro, you don't get to play in Phoenix. Like, we can't make it happen. So now what? What are we going to do?
Right.
And I think it's either you get an okay from him to trade him and of where he is willing to go play, or it becomes a disaster. He probably comes back to the Heat, plays it out, and then they say, we're going to do this in the summer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. We'll find you your landing spot in the summer, but it can't happen right now. So how about you just be a good soldier for the last 30 games of the year?
Right. Right.
Well, because it's like, bro, okay, look, you want to play here or you want to play in Memphis?
Right.
You want to play here or you want to play in Golden State? You want to play here? You want to play in Milwaukee? You want to play here? You want to play wherever, right? Because these are your choices.
Right.
Like that whole fairy tale you've got in your head, that's not a choice. So now you tell us. It's like, I don't know. He might. The funniest thing is going to be he's probably going to be like, all right, fine, I'll just play here.
I know that's the thing. Like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was like, well, he's done in Miami. He'll never wear that uniform again. And now I don't know that it's likely he will, but it certainly seems possible that he could play for the Heat again. That's Chris Vernon. Chris Vernon's show. He'll be in the big studio at noon. When we come back, Chris Beard's Ole Miss Rebels, big win down at Oxford inside the pavilion.
Bennett
knocked off Kentucky. UK has now lost 4 of 5, and Ole Miss looks like a second weekend NCAA tournament team. That win helps the Tigers' resume as well. We'll talk college basketball next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
So these are a pair of Kobe 11 Elite Low. These were part of a collaboration with FC Barcelona.
I've never seen these in person. The detail on these are amazing.
It's Flyknit, like, you know, the front of the shoe is Flyknit. It's got the lunar line, I remember, and the insole
is removable.
Yeah. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Back to Jared for the flash.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati. Look for their secrets. Run back. Tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evening, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Ole Miss 98, Kentucky 84. It's another Quadrant 1 victory for Chris Beard's Rebels. They got 6 of them now, Big Bet Bennett. So that's a nice thing for the Tigers' resume because the Tigers own a victory over that Ole Miss squad. I got Memphis up to 11 in the top 25 and 1 as of this morning. Ole Miss 2 spots behind them, up to number 13. I don't know if you had your eyeballs on this game at all, Bennett, but that final score is not indicative of the way the game unfolded at all. Ole Miss was up 23 at the half, up 27 at one point. Matthew Morrell, my little homie from Memphis, he had a team-high 24 points. And Chris Beard in year 2 in Oxford, he's got a team that I don't think it's hard to imagine playing, in a Sweet 16, in an Elite 8. I don't know that I'd put a Final Four ceiling on them. They could see them getting there too with the right bracket and the right, lucky bounces here or there. It's a good basketball team. Experienced, big, strong, and obviously well coached because Chris Beard's one of the best coaches in the sport.
Yeah, I'm happy. First, I'm not happy for myself because that was an L last night to Kentucky. Which, by the way, I wonder how they're feeling now. That's two rough ones in a row. Yeah.
I mean, so it's not just two rough ones in a row. They've lost 4 of 5.
Yeah.
A week ago, when asked who would I vote National Coach of the Year, I said Kentucky's Mark Pope. And right now, he's having to fend off his own fan base. That's how quickly this stuff can change.
Yes.
He loses to John Calipari at home, and that was really a blowout for much of that game. And then you turn around and you get completely smacked around by Ole Miss. Now, they are missing Lamont Butler, who is their 3rd leading scorer, maybe best perimeter defender, maybe best defender, period. And they're really struggling on defense. Like, if you run the data, it's interesting, or at least it's interesting to me. But if you run the data over at barttorvik.com, like in this 5-game stretch, like, okay, I do this all the time. When the teams that were not so good go on long winning streaks, or teams that were really good start losing, barttorvik.com is a wonderful website where you can play around with the dates and sort it in different ways. And there's some stuff that just sort of pops off the page. And you're like, oh, I see what's going on there. So with Kentucky, if you do that and you run it in this 5-game stretch where they're 1-4, they still in that stretch rank number 1 in adjusted offensive efficiency in the entire country. They're 1-4 in this 5-game stretch, and they are number 1 in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. But on defense, they're in the 200s. And on defense, without Lamont Butler, for the past 3 games, they rank 246. So what that tells you is that even while being quite literally the best offensive team in the country, guarding the way they're guarding, they can't beat good people. And last night was another reminder of that. Their schedule lightens up a little bit going forward, so they should snap out of this by the weekend. But that's a Kentucky team that was ranked in the top 10 and perhaps the best story in the entire sport, and now they've lost 4 of their last 5, and it's flipped around on them a little bit. As for Ole Miss, I did that big story on Jamin Brakefield a few weeks ago. I've been down to Oxford a couple of times this season, spent time with Chris, spent time around that team, that staff. I can just tell you, from going all the way back to October, before the season even started, there was a pretty quiet confidence in the building that, they didn't know if they were going to be ranked in the top 10 in the preseason or top 20 in the preseason, but they knew they had a team that could be good. Chris, over and over again, said this team, the makeup of it reminded him of his second team at Texas Tech. And that was a team that wasn't very heralded in the preseason, but ended up in the Elite 8. He was the first coach ever to take Texas Tech to the Elite 8, and then the following year became the first coach to ever take Texas Tech to the Final Four, and 2 days after that, the national championship game. He's done historically unprecedented things there at Little Rock in one season, and would have done it at Texas if he would have kept that job. And so now Ole Miss, for reasons you can Google, but still this is true, Ole Miss has one of the 5, certainly stretch it out to 10, you'd be safe, but maybe one of the 5 best coaches in college basketball. Like, if you surveyed other coaches and said, hey, you guys, in the spirit of game recognized game, hey, college basketball coaches, you guys tell us who's the best when you're watching film, when you've been into practices, when you're watching their teams, who's the best? Chris Beard would be pretty high up on that list. And what you're watching right now at Ole Miss is a reflection of that. He's got a team filled with veterans, a team that's super talented, and a team that's got a chance to get a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament and then advance pretty deep in that bracket if they get a proper draw.
Number 2.
Your Memphis Tigers returning to the court tonight. It's the stupid Tulsa Hurricane coming to town.
Are they stupid?
Well,
they're not very good.
They're not very good. Let me take stupid, take it, throw it over here. Let's just describe them accurately as a basketball team. They're not very good. They're 281st in the net, 281. And that makes this a quad 4 landmine. Bennett, what's the key to avoiding a quad 4 landmine tonight?
Just finding a way to get up for the game. I know I say this all the time, and I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but like it's just nights like tonight are why I'm like, please get me the hell out of this league. Please get me out of this league, because it's all that can happen is disaster. Like, obviously you want to win, but it doesn't really help you in any way. And a loss can be devastating. They're not expected to get a good crowd tonight. It's a Wednesday night, bad weather against a bad team. And that's my biggest reason for wanting to get out. It's not about it's just, if this was Washington State coming in here tonight, I don't even know if Washington State's good or not this year. I just know it's a brand. I know it's a brand that people are familiar with. I feel like if you replace Tulsa tonight with Washington State, you would get people showing out and caring. Okay, they're just not going to for Tulsa. I'm sorry.
And we'll talk about this in the next one, but you're exactly right, and this is why I advocated for Memphis more seriously considering a conference change from the AAC to the new version of the Pac-12, because right now you are either playing bad teams and or teams that don't conduct themselves anywhere close to the level that you conduct the sport of men's basketball. I mean, it's become a joke. You turn on the television for a Memphis road game and it looks like they're at White Station.
Yeah.
It looks like they're playing MUS on the road.
That's disrespectful to the Spartan Palace.
And I knew it as soon as it came out of my mouth, Bennett. I knew it as soon as it came out of my mouth. So accept my apology. I didn't mean to disrespect the Spartan Palace like that. I had some good nights in that place, right? But you understand the sentiment. You understand the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
You turn on a Memphis road game and it looks like they're playing in a high school gym. And, now you're going to turn on a Memphis home game and it's going to look like they're playing a team that's in the 280s in the net, and it's hard to get your fan base excited for that in the middle of a week when everybody's busy. And tell me more about this bad weather, because
it's raining right now. That's it.
Okay, because I got a text message, and I forgot about it completely up until you said that. But I got a text message that said inclement weather could potentially impact your upcoming flight.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it's raining. It's raining. It's kind of gross outside. No, and two, it's also, GP, just like a jealousy thing. Like we just talked about Ole Miss and Kentucky, and I know that's the SEC, but like you just look around college basketball last night, and like you're getting these fun weeknight matchups, and as we get closer to March, like I'm just like, people are getting way more invested. Like this is the time of year people get fired up about their teams, in the thick of conference play, and it just, again, it's a Wednesday night game against Tulsa. Like, it does nothing for me. As a fan, I just want more. I want to get up for these games.
No, we were talking about this in studio last night. Like, I have opinions about conference realignment. I don't love a lot of the stuff that it's done to the sport, but it was kind of cool watching Michigan State play at UCLA last night, and there's Michigan State alum Magic Johnson in the crowd, and there's UCLA alum Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the crowd. And then two of the greatest basketball players who have ever walked this planet are embracing each other as their alma maters are playing each other. Like, that's a cool byproduct of conference realignment. That's something to get excited about. And to your point, Memphis fans have nothing even close to that. And I know they can't get into the Big Ten or the SEC or the Big 12, but there is an option for them. I think still, certainly was, I think still there's an option for them that will present something better, significantly better than what they got. And I guess that's a decent way to transition to
number 3.
Being reported last night that CBS, ESPN, and Fox are all negotiating to various degrees with the new Pac-12 about a media rights deal that could bring that reworked conference to one of our country's major networks. I asked my bosses about this. You may tell you what they said? I did not ask my bosses about this. I intentionally don't because I don't want to know something that I shouldn't know and then slip up and say it. And so I genuinely, like, the people who would be negotiating this are my bosses on some level. Like, I know these people, and I do not ask them a question about this type of stuff ever because I don't want to hear it. Like, if they bring it up to me, that's one thing, but I don't ever want to hear something that I'm not supposed to know and then slip up and then I got to take a phone call that I don't want to participate in. So I do not have any inside information about this. I learned about this the same way you guys did when you read it. But ESPN, Fox, and CBS reportedly negotiating with the new Pac-12, and a potential media rights package is in the exploratory phase right now, but it is expected to get done. It is expected to be something that's not going to make the schools that decided to leave their leagues and join this league. This is the safest way to put it. It's not going to make those schools regret it. It's not going to make San Diego State go, oh, no, we shouldn't have left. That's my understanding of this.
Gotcha.
Is that, it's the negotiations are in the early stages. But ultimately, when it lands, most people believe San Diego State, Colorado State, Gonzaga, the other schools that have made this move, they're not going to regret it. They're not going to feel like, man, we made a mistake by jumping before knowing what the media rights deal was going to be. They'll be pleased with where they land. And just to the point you were making about, my God, I don't want to see Memphis playing against a Rice Owl ever again. No, this new Pac-12 is not the SEC. It's not the ACC. If you could put me in charge and tell me I could snap my fingers and put Memphis in the ACC or the new Pac-12, you know where I would put them. In the SEC or the new Pac-12, you know where I would put them. Those things aren't options. It's a little bit like what Vernon was talking about with Jimmy Butler. Let's stop talking about, like, Phoenix is the Big 12. Phoenix is the ACC in this analogy. Like, it's cool that that's where you would rather be. That's where I would rather you be too. But that's not realistic right now. So let's talk about what's realistic right now. And what's realistic right now, according to anything that is known publicly, is Memphis certainly had an option to either remain in the AAC or move to the new Pac-12, and still probably has an option to either remain in the AAC or move to the new Pac-12. And if you were to move to the new Pac-12, it would not be like moving to the ACC or the SEC or any of the other conferences that are obviously better. But do you know what it would do? It would give you, theoretically, 2 games against Gonzaga every year. The Zags would be coming into your bid. It wouldn't be Tulsa. It'd be the Zags. All right? Think about, Bennett, if right now today we were talking about Mark Few Zags, they're in FedEx Forum tonight. The whole conversation is different. It's the A block of the show.
Yes. No, I mean, I'd make that trade just for that game. like just for that game alone. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you get 2 of them.
Yeah.
We get to watch them come here, and then we get to turn on our TVs.
Yep.
Yeah, probably 9:15 at night some night, maybe 10. It's going to be late, but we get to watch the Tigers play inside the kennel. How cool would that be? All right?
Be awesome.
That's something to look forward to. We'll get an afternoon nap. We'll put a K-cup in the coffee thing, and we'll stay up late, and we'll watch the Tigers play in the kennel. That'd be fun. You'd also get 2 games against San Diego State. You ever seen Viejas Arena? That place is popping every time you turn on that. I've watched 1 million games on CBS Sports Network in studio, live from Viejas Arena. I have been to Viejas Arena when Jimmer Fredette and Kawhi Leonard were at BYU and San Diego State, respectively. It's an awesome basketball environment with a top 25 coach in the sport and an administration that cares about it and invests in it. They were in the Final Four a few years ago. You get 2 games against them. Right now, you got no games in your league that Memphis fans are interested in. None. 0. I'm sorry, UAB. It's 0. You got no games any Memphis fan cares about in your league. Well, I just gave you 4 right there. 2 against Gonzaga, 2 against San Diego State. I don't know if you've watched much basketball this season, but Utah State is like 20-3. They've been ranked. Go on YouTube and just Google or get in the search engine on YouTube and type in Utah State home game 2024, 2025. It'll look like you're watching Cameron Indoor Stadium. It'll look like the best college basketball thing you've ever seen. I can give you 2 games against them, too.
I'll take it.
All right? Colorado State has consistently been an NCAA tournament caliber team under Nico Medved. I can give you 2 games against them. When you turn on their basketball games, it looks like a real college basketball place. It's like you would go, man, is that Colorado State or Mississippi State? You know, I know what the colors are, but that's about what it looks like. I can get you 2 against them. Boise State, under Leon Rice, consistent NCAA tournament caliber team. Turn on their games. It looks like a real college basketball environment. It does not look like a game at Lausanne. It looks like a game in a real college basketball arena. I can get you 2 against them. I just flipped your conference basketball schedule from 0 games your fans care about watching or attending to I got you 2 against Boise State, 2 against Colorado State, 2 against San Diego State, 2 against Utah State, 2 against Gonzaga. There's 10 games right there that your fans care about, and I hadn't even mentioned Washington State or Oregon State.
I'm in.
You should be. I know it's more complicated than any public school guy like me could illustrate through a microphone on a Wednesday morning on very little sleep. But I'm just telling you, you can change your athletic department and change the passion of your fan base and maybe prevent yourself from losing a generation of Memphis area children who aren't growing up caring about this stuff the way my generation grew up caring about this stuff. You can fix a lot of this stuff by making a move. I know the travel gets complicated, and I understand that this money that you would need to make all this happen, it doesn't come from nowhere. But, buddy, I would still be trying to figure it out. I'd still be trying to do everything I could to figure it out because I know what life in the AAC looks like for you, and it's not fun. You got a great football season, or at least a really good one, and it didn't register the way it should have. You've got a great basketball team right now, one of the top 15 in the country according to my rankings. It will not look like that in the stands tonight when you walk into that arena. This is a real problem. There is a way to improve it. I hope that it's at least being seriously considered.
Number 4.
Dick Vitale has announced he will return to the microphone this weekend for the first time since 2023. At the age of 85 years old, Dick Vitale, recovering from cancer, is going to be at the Duke Clemson game providing color commentary. And I know this might not mean anything to younger people, but there was a time, certainly in my childhood and even in my early adult life, where if the University of Memphis or any college basketball team in the country really got a nationally televised game on ESPN, that was the first cool thing. And do you know what the second thing you wondered?
Is Diggy V going to be on the broadcast?
Absolutely.
Yep.
He was that big of a deal. He was,
That's
you
very
could
true.
argue at one point, he was the face of college basketball. Not Mike Krzyzewski, not Bobby Knight, not Roy Williams. You could argue there was a point in time where there was nobody who did more for the sport of basketball, college basketball, promoting it, being excited about it, being present on TV multiple times a week in high-profile games. He was a very important part of the growth of the sport. And because of the way my career has unfolded, I've been fortunate enough to get to know him over the years and spend time with him over the years. And I can just tell you, he is an absolute sweetheart of a man, just the best of the best, and has dedicated his life in many ways to raising millions and millions and millions of dollars to fight the same type of childhood cancer that they're fighting down at St. Jude in downtown Memphis. And so I know his style of commentary is not for everybody. And I understand at the age of 85, it might not even be what it once was. But I also don't care about any of that because I know how badly Dick wanted to do this at least one more time, to recover from these one terrible diagnosis after another and get back behind a microphone, get back on television in a college basketball arena, if only just one more time. So I'm thrilled that he is healthy enough now to be able to do it, that ESPN is allowing him to do it because that guy's the best of the best. I work in an industry where not everybody is the best of the best. Not everybody you watch on TV is a good person. But that guy, that's the best of the best. And so God bless him, and I can't wait to see him this weekend.
Number 5.
Now for the saddest shit you ever heard. And I only bring it up because, I don't know, often I'm planning this stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. And
you're doom scrolling.
And I'm in a weird headspace, and I'm like, all right, this is interesting. And then I swear to God, this happens sometimes. Then I wake up the next morning, and I go, ugh, I guess I put this in here for a reason, but I'm in a different headspace now than I was when I put this in here, right? And this is one of those stories. But we did talk about it the day after it happened, and so there's an update to the story.
Yeah, okay.
And let's update the story. So it's the Black Hawk helicopter crashed into the American Airlines flight over our nation's capital. Everybody dead. Just the saddest of. Ugh. So they've got the black boxes, and all bodies have now been recovered. So this is the worst of the worst. I saw a man talking to Caitlin Collins on CNN a couple days ago. Lost his wife and his daughter, and he's obviously choked up, and she can't even hold it together. I mean, this is a woman who goes on television and talks about wars and talks about bombs and talks about earthquakes and hurricanes and all sorts of things that take lives away, and she couldn't hold it together. It's so sad, just so devastating how everything can just flip around on you in an instant. I mean, there are people who were waiting at the airport, as you know, for their wife or husband or whomever to land, and they're just looking at the gate, waiting for them to walk through, and they'll never see them walk through. I can't imagine how you process that. That's real trauma you got to deal with. So I don't know how you get over that. I doubt you do. But what I gather from reading is that there are different types of things that can provide closure, and perhaps all bodies being recovered from the Potomac River provides some closure for these families. I don't know. Anyway, they've also got the audio boxes and voice recordings from inside the plane, and what we now know for sure is that the helicopter was flying too high. It is never supposed to, in that airspace, be above 200 feet, and it collided with the plane at 325. And so the helicopter was somewhere it should not have been. And the other thing we know, and I guess there's still questions about how this helicopter could just fly straight into this plane, because if you watch the video, it just flies straight into the plane.
Yeah.
You're just watching it, and you're like, well, yo, man, you need to turn. It's something. And it's just like, yeah, boom, just straight into it. And the I don't know if it's the best explanation I've heard, but among the explanations I've heard is that happened so fast that you could just be like, you could drop something, look down for a second, and then you look up and it's too late. Or like somebody asks you a question, you turn or you look this way, you don't think there's anything in front of you. By the time you look back, you've lost 3 seconds. Now it's too late. It happens that quickly. So I know there's a million conspiracy theories. To me, just basic pilot error seems like what probably happened here. But whatever, that's not the point. The point is that from the recordings inside the plane and the movement of the plane in the final second, they knew they were about to get hit. They saw it. They knew it. They heard it or whatever. Because the report is that there's audible sound of whatever you think you would say if you thought you were 2 seconds away from getting blown up by a helicopter. Whatever you think you would say is if you looked out the window and saw a helicopter coming directly at you. Whatever you think you would say, that's what's on the recording. So there was a moment, I mean, very quick, but there was a moment where those people knew what was about to happen to them.
Yikes.
And I guess I don't know what I was hoping, but I guess there's some hope maybe that it's just,
it just happened. Nobody saw it coming. It just happened. It's like that. Yeah.
It's sort of the equivalent of like passing away in your sleep. Like you just went to bed one night and then it's over and you never knew nothing. Like I don't know if that's what I was hoping for, but that seems preferable to terror, to just what we're describing now. But we now know because of stuff that's been recovered, at least for a second or two, these people on these planes, at least some of them, and certainly the pilots, knew what was about to happen. Well, there's your happy story for the day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks a lot. No, I mean it was a huge story that we talked about, so we gotta talk about it.
I don't think we had to, Bennett. I honestly don't think anybody.
Well, I didn't know that, so I at least feel more informed. How about that?
Okay. Well, then good. Then that makes me feel like it was more purposeful than just me looking at something at 3:45 in the morning and going, here's some, as I'm sitting here in a hotel room for the millionth straight night. Here's some sad stuff to talk about. Like if I help get you updates, so when you're talking to your friends about this story, if you still are, you know what you're talking about, then I guess that's a good thing.
You and I are very similar because between the hours of like 11 or between like 10 and midnight, buddy, I think it's like the world's coming to an end every day. Every day, because I just am sitting there, my family's asleep, and I'm just consuming all of it, everything.
I sit in this hotel room every night, more nights in 2025 than I've been at home. I've been in this hotel more nights this year than I've been at home, and I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning with my computer every night. My entire mood is different at 3:30 a.m. than it is at 3:30 p.m. Every day. And I think it's because I am sitting alone in the middle of a night, detached from the world, and just staring at a computer. And I don't want to overstate it, but like it changes my mood.
It definitely does.
I don't feel so great. I don't feel as happy as I would like to feel. But then I wake up the next day and I'm like, let's go. I feel,
Yeah, I mean, it's why I guess it's why they say that people need to like get out of their houses and do stuff, because you just don't think your mind's on other things.
Yeah, I haven't had time to really do any of that. The stuff they describe as healthy.
Yes.
I haven't had much time to do that lately, but I'm gonna get back to it.
Good.
I'm gonna get back to it at some point.
Season doesn't last forever, man.
I hope not. Like I said on the Eye on College Basketball podcast the other day, we had a Masters commercial. It's just weird how bothered people get about everything. But we had a Masters commercial. We came back from the Masters commercial, and I said, man, it'll be here before you know. I'm doing one of those things like I do. And I said, Norlander, you know what my favorite thing is about the Masters? And he said, college basketball season's over. And I said, that's right. Because once you get to the Masters, that means the national championship game was this past Monday, and the season's over. And then I get like weird comments from people on social media, and they're like, I can't believe this guy is hosting the college basketball podcast and he hates college basketball, isn't even enjoying the season. Do you know what I mean when I say I can't wait for the season to be over? I mean that I can't wait to be able to throw a baseball with my kid. I mean that I can't wait to just be in my house, not be alone in a hotel every night. That's what I like. This college basketball season has been awesome. Like one of my favorites in recent memory. Auburn is incredible. The Duke story, phenomenal. What's happening 20 blocks to my left in the Garden with St. John's on the verge of winning a Big East title for the first time since 1992. I didn't even realize that until a month ago. They haven't won a Big East title since 1992.
That's wild.
Well, they're now on track to do it 2 years after hiring Rick Pitino to run their program. St. John's is 20-3, overall 11-1 in the Big East. Big game against UConn on the road this Friday night. Should be awesome. Appointment television, if you care about that stuff at all. The season's awesome, but man, this ain't like I'm looking forward to just being back home, and that's what the end of college basketball season represents to me. I get to like put a suitcase up and not look at these same walls every single night. So, yeah, when you're up till 3:30 in the morning every night, alone, living through your computer, you're getting some weird headspace, and maybe that's how you end up focused on a tragedy like a plane crash. I don't know what's going on. I need to get to a therapist. But that's your update on the DC plane crash. So if anybody brings it up to you, tell them what I said, and you'll sound more informed than at least Bennett said he was before we got here today. That's good enough for me. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back to the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies. Big game tonight in Toronto. It's a 6:30 tip, so make sure you turn your televisions on 30 minutes earlier than normal. Grizz are 9.5-point favorites, so even though Bennett spent part of yesterday's show glazing the Raptors, I ain't worried. I'm unconcerned. Tonight, it's America against Canada, and we're beefing with Canada these days, so let's take it personal. And
yeah, I mean, I feel bad, frankly.
I don't know. I didn't think we were going to end up fighting with Canada, but here we are.
Yeah.
It's February 5th, 2025, and the Canadians inside the arena tonight are going to boo our national anthem.
Like, I want to win tonight, clearly, but I also just hope that there's, like, good sportsmanship involved. Everybody hugs at the end of the game, and maybe the rest of the country and the world could see that moment and go, I think these two countries were meant to be allies.
Yes, that'd be great. I think more likely people all over the world are going to look at this and go,
what in the world is going on where Canada and the United States are beefing all of a sudden? That seems like instead of being inspired by us, more likely to be confused. Based on what I'm reading, the world's just more confused than anything else.
Yeah.
But it's none of my business, man. We got a trade deadline to worry about.
Yeah,
we got a trade deadline.
That's true.
I can't solve the world's problems the day before the trade deadline.
We'll figure out these international relations later. Let's get to the trade deadline first.
We'll figure out exactly how you turn the Gaza Strip into 30A. We'll figure out how you can do that another day. Let's get. They're thinking about doing that, Bennett.
Yeah, I've been reading. Yeah.
We'll figure that out another day, but not the day before the trade deadline. We got more important things to figure out right now.
Yeah.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm gonna take you inside FedEx Forum, Bennett. Let's see how much you believe in your Tigers that are 18-4 overall, 8-1 in the American. They're playing Tulsa, 7:00 tip. Tigers 16.5-point favorite, totals 147.5. How you gonna act?
It keeps moving because it was like 18.5 yesterday. I know. Okay. Let me just. Again, I'm just calling it like it is.
Sure.
If you put money on the Memphis Tigers to not cover this year, you're doing pretty well, probably. Specifically, no, I take that back. Against bad teams. If you've picked the Tigers to not cover against bad teams, you're probably doing okay. 16.5 is massive, and it's not going to be a great crowd tonight, like we said. Everything leads me to think I should take Tulsa in this situation, but bro, they suck.
That's the thing about Tulsa that I don't think enough people understand. And I don't want to say it because I like Eric Conkle. He's the Tulsa coach. I like him a lot. But Bennett, if you want to say it, I won't object. If you want to describe Tulsa the way you just described them once more so everybody understands what we're talking about, feel free to go ahead and do that right now.
Yeah, they're not a good basketball team. So since this line's moving in favor of the Tigers, give me or I'm sorry, it's moving in favor of Tulsa. Give me the Tigers. Give me the Tigers. I'll take 16.5. Give it to me.
KenPom's got Memphis winning it by 22. The number is 16.5. Then it says if you're going to give him 16, if you're only going to make him lay 16.5 when KenPom says it should be 22, then it says he's going to have to do that. So that's what he's doing. He's taking the Tigers tonight minus 16.5. We'll see how it goes.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in Kinda Pregnant?
I don't know. I'm not hearing good stuff.
It's Amy Schumer's return to the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And by big screen, I mean Netflix, I guess. So maybe not the big screen.
Yeah,
unless you've got a big screen that you stream Netflix on, which I do.
I'm a fan. I like her stand-up. I loved the movie that she did that LeBron was in, the Judd Apatow movie. What was that? Trainwreck. That was that one that was called?
She's running around sleeping with everybody.
I liked that movie. I thought it was funny. I like Amy Schumer. I'm not hearing great things about this movie, though.
Well, Bennett, that's unfortunate.
Do we have a rating? Do we have a tomato meter?
Oh, but I didn't even want to look.
Hang on. What's this thing called? Kind of pregnant? Let's see. I don't want to. Here we go. Okay. Right now, as of right now, kind of pregnant. Oh, we don't have anything yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. It just came out. We don't have enough right now. I see one review from a fellow named Brian Orndorff. He writes for Blu-ray.com.
Oh, that's where I need to work.
I know. Blu-ray.com.
That sounds like an awesome job.
What, you couldn't get a job at 8track.com? I can't get it. What, VCR.com wasn't hiring? What is this fellow working at? But you know what he said? Here's what he wrote. This is the first line of his review. It's a terrible movie. Man,
okay, but I actually like what he says after that.
But it does provide colorful background noise for a streaming audience.
Which might be the ultimate purpose for this picture. I actually do think that there is a space for that. There are times when I want to put something on that's just like there. that I can, play on my phone and not really pay attention, but you can always just come back to because it's there. That I like that sometimes.
Are you aware of this? Netflix makes movies for that. They design movies that way.
To just put it on your screen and you can check out for 10 minutes, come back, and you won't miss too much.
The idea behind the movie might be this is a movie you can watch while also scrolling Instagram. You don't have to keep your eyes on it at all times. You can keep up with the story.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, Bennett. Kind of pregnant at Netflix right now.
Yep.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best, but I did write about St. John's winning for the 9th straight time last night, and Rick Pitino in year 2 with the Johnnies having that Big East program in position to win a conference title for the first time since 1992. That's back when Soundgarden was coming out with Bad Motorfinger and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a long time ago,
Great
Bennett.
album. Yeah.
1992 is a long time ago. So if you want to read about that, you can find it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Bennett, I'm supposed to be in your presence tomorrow. That's the plan.
All right, man.
That's the plan.
Good luck.
Oh, man, thank you.
You better knock on wood.
I'm going to knock on everything, buddy. I'm going to knock on everything. The plan is to be back in studio tomorrow. Mike Wallace will join me. We'll be talking about another Grizzlies victory because the Raptors are not serious challengers. Tonight, America prevails. And then on Sunday, we do it again.
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. We're going to meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.